Well, hello there. Did you know evolution is easy to debunk? Atheists do not want to admit evolution is a lie. They want to legitimatize lies to justify living outside of God's will. I am going to debunk evolution, but I guarantee you, only those who want to understand the truth will believe it. Let me tell you about the gecko lizard. He can walk across the ceiling upside down without falling off. How does gecko do it? They have 500 million suction cups on their toes. They are so small, the human eye cannot see them. Evolutionists cannot explain how their brainless process of natural selection from millions of mutations could have mutated 500 million suction cups microscopically on gecko's toes. Imagine yourself being born with 500 million suction cups on your feet so you could be Spider-Man. The stuff science fiction is made of, but gecko is real. Gecko really can walk across your ceiling. So we know gecko is no accidental mutation for evolutionists to claim. We also know evolutionists do not have a scrap of fossil evidence to demonstrate gecko evolved from mutations, designing 500 million suction cups on the bottoms of his feet so small you can't see them. The brilliance of gecko's incredible suction feet points directly to a supremely intelligent designer with omnipotent power to do all things, and we know who he is. Have you ever heard of the deep-sea anglerfish? The anglerfish makes its home a mile deep in ocean water where it's dark. On its forehead, the female has a fishing rod tipped with an artificial worm. She dangles this bait over her mouth to attract her next meal, but there's a problem. Her next meal cannot see the bait, since it is dark down there in the deep. Starvation sets in while she waits for her deep-sea fish dinner. At last she realizes, I must do something about this darkness problem. But alas, it's too late. She's dead, and dead fish cannot evolve the adaptations needed to solve their problems. So, we are here to tell you, evolution fails to explain the anglerfish. God supremely intelligently created the anglerfish with all the fully functional equipment it needs to survive at great depths. To solve the darkness problem, God created a special kind of light on the angler's bait. This light displays highly advanced technology. It gives off no heat. A compound called luciferin is oxidized with the help of an enzyme scientist named luciferase, and this reaction produces heatless light. Another feature of the deep-sea angler is its special body, which is designed to protect it from becoming crushed. A pressure of over 2,000 pounds per square inch is exerted on the body of the fish at 1 mile deep. It survives this great pressure with no problem. The deep-sea angler was designed with all of its special equipment to be fully functional. Now, beavers are famous for building dams, but did you know they have specially designed features such as air-breathing mammals spending a lot of time in and underwater would need to survive? First, the beaver has special valves in its ears and nose. When the beaver dives below the water, these valves automatically close so that no water can enter. When the animal resurfaces, the valves reopen and it breathes again. Their most amazing piece of equipment is their eyelids. If you have done any diving or snorkeling, you will know particles in the water can irritate your eyes and wash out natural lubricants. You will also know your eyes do not see well underwater. That is why snorkelers wear goggles. Beavers are designed with built-in goggles. Their eyelids are transparent. They can close their eyes underwater and see extremely well. Their transparent eyelids protect their eyes from irritants in the water. During winter, beavers must feed on the bark of trees they have cut and stored in autumn using their specially designed shelf-sharpening front incisors. Beavers collect young trees, usually 2 inches in diameter, for food, cut them to suitable lengths with their front teeth, transport them in their teeth to their underwater storage, force the branches into the mud at the bottom of the damn water, and they are ready for the winter. Which brings us to another amazing design feature in the beaver. To retrieve stored food in the winter months when ice covers the pond, the beaver chews stored sticks underwater. They do this without water entering their mouths. With fur mouth flaps between their front incisors and their rear molar teeth, which are set considerably further back. These 2 folds of skin, one on each side of the mouth, meet behind the incisors and seal off the rest of the mouth. It is like they have 2 mouths built into one. God is great at multi-purpose design. The beaver's large paddle-shaped tail, which has scale-like skin covering it, is used as a rudder when it swims, as well as a fin to swim with. This is particularly important when the animal is swimming with a branch in its mouth. The tail must compensate as a rudder for any uneven drag from the branch. Thus, the tail is often held at an angle for accurate steering. The rear feet of the beaver are large and webbed like a duck's feet to give the animal even greater swimming ability. The beaver is a submersible submarine animal. A beaver can swim submerged for perhaps a half mile. Most air-breathing creatures would be adversely affected by lack of oxygen to the brain, but the beaver is specially designed to survive underwater where fish thrive. Were the beaver to die under the circumstances of its lifestyle from lack of oxygen to their brain, natural selection could not kick in to mutate changes in the beaver and provide the upgrades the beaver already enjoys from God as their designer. Evolution is totally brainless and incompetent to have ever been able to figure out the beaver's many needs, equipment-wise, for the many dangers the beaver faces daily in the way of life it lives. That's how we know the beaver is supremely intelligently designed by our Creator. Let us look at another of the marvels of God's creation, the giraffe. The giraffe had to be created like the beaver, and the anglerfish is a fully functional creature, and I'll tell you why. A mature bull giraffe grows to be about 18 feet tall. In order to pump blood up his long neck to his brain, the giraffe needs a powerful pump. His heart is about 2.5 feet long. It is so powerful that as the animal bends down to satisfy its thirst, the blood pressure is more than enough to burst the blood vessels of the brain. Evolution says something does not evolve until it is needed. But the giraffe would not know it needed to protect its brain from the devastation of excessive blood pressure until it had died of brain hemorrhage while taking a cool drink. How can it evolve a protective mechanism if it is no longer alive to do it? The giraffe had a protective mechanism designed by our Creator. As the bull giraffe bends his head down for a drink, valves in the arteries in its neck begin to close. Blood beyond the last valve continues moving toward the brain. But instead of passing at high speed and pressing into the brain and damaging or destroying it, the blood from the last section is slowed to the brain to protect it by those valves. However, from this mechanism, another problem arises that challenges evolution. A lion creeps up and prepares to kill its giraffe prey. The giraffe quickly raises its head and, without something to compensate for the reduced blood flow, passes out. It's got up too fast for the low pressure and oxygen content of the brain. So the giraffe would faint. That means the lion would have a hearty meal because the giraffe needs to evolve some mechanism to reoxygenate its oxygen-deprived brain as it stands up so quickly to flee. Dead animals cannot be expected to evolve anything, so we know the Lord designed the survival mechanism in the giraffe so it can react instantly and flee from a lion's sudden charge. As the giraffe raises his head, his arterial valves open immediately, squeezing oxygenated blood into the brain, while veins going down the neck contain valves which close to help level out the blood pressure as the giraffe takes off on the run at full speed. No lion lunch today, folks. Evolution fails again. God made the giraffe just like it is, with all systems complete and ready for any emergency. There is no way the giraffe could have evolved its special features. The functional mechanisms of the giraffe demand God to be their creator. And once we realize this method of analysis applies to many of the creatures God has designed, like the beaver, the anglerfish, and the giraffe, then we know for sure evolution not only lacks a brain to design creatures with genius like God, evolution cannot naturally select special equipment for dead creatures. Now, in closing, let me point out just how bankrupt evolution is. Since it is dependent on mutations, and most mutations are useless and harmful, like the girl with two heads in one body to share. You can find her on YouTube. And I can guarantee you if they have children, the children will be normal because the mutation is not in the genes or in the DNA. So I want them to have children to prove evolution is wrong. I want to encourage them to get married. To put this another way, why did the evolutionary scientists evacuate the area when the 3 Mile Island nuclear reactor in Pennsylvania destroyed itself? Those scientists should have moved their families into the area so mutations might develop to speed up the evolutionary process. Instead, they escaped for their lives from the mutation causing radiation as fast as they could. Apparently, you evolutionists don't really believe in evolution. Professor of genetics at the University of Wisconsin, James Crow, writes, "Mutants would usually be detrimental, for a mutation is a random change of highly organized, reasonably smoothly functioning, living body. A random change in the highly integrated system of chemical processes which constitute life is almost certain to impair it, just as a random interchange of connections in a television set is not likely to improve the picture. We all know haphazardly reattaching wires in the back of a TV set will not improve the picture. In the same way, random changes in the genes do not improve our ability to live and function. As a matter of fact, no scientist has yet observed a random mutation produce a new hormone, enzyme, or simple organ. Nevertheless, they teach us and our children the lie that we are here because our primeval ancestors had mutations occur in their genes that caused them to evolve higher and higher until here we are. You atheists believe in magic. Listen to the words of the famous evolutionist from the University of Pennsylvania, Dr. Lauren Isolé. With the failure of these many efforts to prove evolution to be true, science was left in the somewhat embarrassing position of having to postulate theories of living organs which it could not demonstrate. After having chided the theologian for his reliance on myth and miracle, science found itself in the unenviable position of having to create a mythology of its own, namely the assumption that what after long effort could not be proved to take place today had in truth taken place in the primeval past. That's where you have to get billions of years from the bankrupt and fraudulent Big Bang Theory to allow for evolution to say time designs all of these life species, which it doesn't do. Time doesn't have a brain. And I would recommend you evolutionists, if you really think that you believe in random chance, take your life savings over to Las Vegas and prove to us that you really believe in random chance. come back and see us after you lose all your money there. Do you atheists see you are promoting science fiction? Your belief in evolution must be by faith because you do not have the evidence to back it up. So, you atheists need to learn to get it straight. We will not accept the lie. We will not accept your theories, your 250 million theories stacked on each other. And we will not be bullied.